with the Detroit Pistons, telling our Adrian Wojnarowski, the largest coaching deal in NBA history. So happy for the city of Detroit. They got themselves a good one. But do you have a problem, Stephen A., with him getting a $13 million a year deal?
Well, I'll concede this. He hasn't won a championship, and to be the highest paid coach in history is kind of shocking. But if anybody deserves that kind of investment, it's Monty Williams. He's a two-time NBA Coaches Association Coach of the Year. He's a one-time Coach of the Year in 2021-2022 season. He took the Phoenix Suns to an NBA Finals. He's a leader of men in the bubble before they went to the conference final, before they went to the NBA Finals. Remember, they had won 8 straight games in the bubble in Orlando, and that was really an indication of things to come. He's a one, and to have such a young squad, you definitely want somebody like him leading them into the future. It's a worthy investment by the Detroit Pistons, and I'm certainly happy for him. He deserves it.
Absolutely. As far as the finals, they start tonight. Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray have led the high-powered Denver Nuggets to the NBA Finals for the first time in franchise history. Jokic has averaged a triple-double for the playoffs, while Murray could not be stopped in the West Finals versus the Lakers. So Jokic and Murray have each had a habit of raising their game in the postseason. They rank first and second in terms of largest point per game increases from the regular season to the playoffs. Jokic has scored or assisted on 54 points per game this season. That's third most entering the finals all time. Jay Will, who's more crucial for the Nuggets winning the series, Jokic or Murray?
Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray is the driver of the car. God bless you, Stephen A. Smith.
Thank you.
For more than that reason, too.
Jamal Murray's the driver? Come on, let's go.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm listening.
Yeah.
No, because okay, come on. I want to hear this.
See, I feel like Jokic is the engine. Jokic always keeps the car moving. The car is always going to have a chance to get there. But what gets the car to the end destination is the closer. And in the game of basketball, you need a closer. And to me, Jamal Murray is that guy that a lot of people, Jokic is the MVP of the league. I know this year's Joel Embiid, fine. Two-time MVP before, a guy that puts up triple-doubles. He's averaging a triple-double on 54% shooting. I understand how special of a talent Jokic is, that probably when it's all said and done, he'll end up being a top 15 player all time, when it's all said and done. But to me, the thing that gets this team over the hump is Jamal Murray. He is the edge here. We all know that teams need that extra little something. And I think his story a couple of years ago, he wasn't even sure that he was going to remain on this team. There was an intimate conversation he had with Michael Malone around whether he was going to get traded or not. People in Denver last year were yelling at Jamal Murray to play because they thought he was taking too much time off his ACL injury. So when I see the way he closes games down the stretch, when I see when he plays at another level offensively, combined with the way Jokic plays, to me, that is the last piece of the puzzle that gets this team to become the champion truly the way they are. It's Murray, the closer.
I think the stat that Molly gave us that is sticking to me among all the stats we just got is that Nikola Jokic scores or assists 54 points per game for the Nuggets. I hear you, but even if I stick with your analogy, you can't drive without an engine. Right? And so I think that it is Nikola Jokic, and it is going to be an opportunity for him to solidify his legacy. You mentioned the 2 MVPs. I think his versatility sets up everybody else, right? So we are obviously splitting hairs. They are both vital to what the Nuggets are looking to do. But literally, the offense is run through Jokic, and that is not just in terms of the gravity that he draws to free up Jamal Murray, but that's everybody else on the floor, right? And I think some of Jamal, I looked it up, he's averaging like 7.5 points per game in the fourth, which is fine. Ready to hit big shots, playing with a chip on his shoulder, and terrific. But you need the guy that gets you to the fourth if it's going to be a clutch game, if you're going to bring in your closer. And so to me, that's Jokic. And I think this team has really incredible balance. It's going to be impressive. I can't wait to see what it looks like in the finals now that they are healthy and finally here. But to go away from anybody other than Jokic as far as being the fulcrum of this unit, I can't do it.
I appreciate that word, fulcrum. Everybody doesn't know what that means, although I do. But congratulations for using that.
you.
Thank you
Wow.
very much.
Congratulations
That's
for
number
using
one.
that word.
That's number one. Number two, this is the part about First Take that just makes it such a beautiful show. You know, no matter how ridiculous and utterly nonsensical you can sound in one different segment, you can turn around and in the very next segment make up for it. And that is exactly what Jay Williams just did. The fact of the matter is, Jay Williams restored my faith in him, and I think he deserves a lot of credit because it's important. Because I lost it for a little while there. I lost it for a couple of segments, but he came back. He came back because he's absolutely right, Eminem. And I said this yesterday. Yes, we know that, Murray's averaging 27.7 points per game. We know, considering the jump from 20 to 27 in the postseason, there ain't too many players in NBA history that made that kind of jump come postseason time. We got to give credit where credit is due. I'm just looking at it right now, and I think that's the third biggest jump among 173 players that have played in at least 4 playoff games this postseason. So we got to give credit where credit is due as it pertains to that. I can look at the 32 he averaged against the Lakers on 50%, 52% shooting from the field, 40% shooting from three-point range. The biggest thing that jumps out at me is when Jamal Murray shoots 40% or better in the postseason, the Nuggets are undefeated. When he does it, they're not. And that's the reality of the situation. And so when I look at it from that perspective, and I think about Jokic and what he brings to the table, here's what I would deduce from it, Eminem, and I would ask you to consider as you shimmy and think about it. When you think about Jokic, all right? Jokic is a dude where you come to expect his greatness. You don't take it for granted. You appreciate it, but you expect it. And when you watch Jokic, you see a guy and you say, wow, he's great. But when you see Jamal Murray doing what he does for the Denver Nuggets, you look at them and you say, they're great. There's a difference. When Jamal Murray gets rolling, Denver seems unbeatable. When Jokic gets rolling, you marvel at Jokic. That's why he can drop 53 points in a game that they lose. But Jamal Murray scores 30-plus in games that they keep winning. He has that kind of impact where he galvanizes them in such a way that he elevates the level of play around him. I'm not saying Jokic doesn't. Jokic is a phenomenal passer, high basketball IQ, skilled, etc. But you run things through him. He produces for you. He keeps you in the mix. But Jamal Murray is the finishing touch. When he gets going, Denver appears to be unbeatable. That is not the case when Jokic gets going. That's a difference.
Let's go back to our previous segment in which we then look at the question thoroughly, because how can y'all both use the words closer, finishing touch, driver, as opposed to
that about
engine?
Murray.
I understand that, but you yourself just called him a finishing touch. Stephen, you can't get to finishing touches and bells and whistles if the core piece is not there to move this thing along. Like, I hear what y'all are saying. You can if you're robbing them of the credit that's due. Nobody's doing that to Jokic. We're simply saying we've seen his excellence be put on display and Denver still struggle. When Jamal Murray gets going, they don't lose. There's a difference. They don't lose when Jamal Murray gets going.
And Stephen, I want to add.
60 seconds.
Well, Jamal Murray is usually balling at home.
So, but I'm saying, if we're going to pick out which item, which variable we're going to put the impact on,
Stephen, I just want to say that we're seeing eye to eye right now, and it feels good to be on the right side of history. I'm glad that you've joined me here.
Not you
I want you to continue to join me more throughout the course of this show. I'll be here for the next hour. But I do want to add on to your brilliance here. We all respect the IQ and the genius of Draymond Green. We may not respect the jump shot, but we respect the IQ of it, right?
Do that?
I'm just
right.
Anyway, why do you think one of the plans was for them to let Jokic drop 40 or 50? Let him shoot, let him outscore, because he knows it takes Jamal Murray out of the game, and they need Jamal Murray to win the game. They need Jamal Murray to win an NBA championship.
I don't disagree with you on that, but
last word.
What?
What you got to say about that?
Okay.
Go ahead, Molly.
All right.
Go ahead, Molly.
Let's go. Goodbye. Denver's favored by 8. Coming up here on First Take, we got a full fresh live hour. Jay Will's got a bold prediction, folks. about this NBA Finals that Stephen A. can't wait to go at him about. Please don't miss that debate. Or this, we got two